tonight I'm on Ray Dead.
Kind of.
Kind of. Well,
I mean, again, I mean, he did nothing happened with his arc. Nothing occurred. You know what I'm saying? Like nothing happened that moved forward the plot of the story of Negan. Like nothing happened.
That's true, but he's like trying to like twist like the Dam to be favorite for him than the Korak. Like the Korak is getting jealous of what's going on with Negan. Like Negan is getting all the the praise that he's getting from the Dam than the Korak. So I mean it's that, but yeah, I kind of agree with you. Like I mean Negan is still Negan, but
it's almost like they don't know what they want to do with Negan in this show, in this season.
Yeah, it's very.
You're
true.
doing a lot. You're doing some occasional like movement like freezes occasionally when you're moving you're freezing.
No, don't tell me I'm Iceman. Oh my god. No.
Only occasionally when you move. For some reason, when you move, you go Iceman. Yeah. It just happened. Like every time you move, you freeze, and then there's like a multiple screen shot, of you in different positions.
Oh my god, that is insane.
You're having a rough couple of months with your internet and Wi-Fi and all that kind of stuff and StreamYard lately, sir.
No, it's just a couple of times, sir. It's just the weather. It's getting pretty crazy out there. I don't know. At least, I mean, it's better than Optimum, I gotta say, than their Wi-Fi. But anyway, so hello everyone. This is Andreas Poculture Guy. I'm the moderator of The Walking Dead Dead City Season 2, Episode 4 live recap and breakdown. Of course, I'm here with Jeff, the co-host of MCU'S Edge. How you doing, sir?
That's right, sir. I am happy to be here on Monday night again with you, and happy to be the co-host of the Bleeding Edge now for going on 5 years.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, and this is what 3 years doing this, I guess. Yeah. But anyway, so we're back again to do Walking Dead This City. As you see before, we're still not liking the show. Slow as usual. I mean, we got another episode that was just like okay. Yeah.
I have to imagine that if you went and watched other YouTubers that cover Dead City and see what they're saying about these episodes, I think it's probably universal that they probably don't like them that much either.
No, probably not, right?
You'd have to be lying. You'd have to be lying to yourself or kissing ass or something like that to try to recap and review this show. And find nothing but good things or have positive things to say about it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I kind of agree with Dodger here. He doesn't like The Walking Dead City. It's pretty awful.
Dodger's barking at stuff that's not even there.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know. I think he knows maybe zombies are out there. But anyway, let's get to it. So let's do the recap and yada then get out of here as usual. So we open with the can I pronounce the leader of one of the New York groups that we saw from episode 1, right?
That actor from Resident Evil 3.
Oh, really? That's who he is?
Huh. Yeah. He's played government officials. He's played villains. He's played low life type characters a lot in a lot of movies as a B actor, like a secondary actor.
Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, because I gotta say he was definitely the best thing about this episode, I guess, from my opinion.
Well, they put him on a pedestal.
Yeah, his group was kind of interesting when we were in the episode. So we see him and his team talking to a chained up walker about his excitement to see the city lit up again. And then at the same time, we see Negan, the Korak, and the Dam are there to make nice so that they can convince him to help fight the new Babylon. So pretty much, and from the preview for the next episode, we're seeing that they're trying to like recruit the various fraction of the New York, groups that they're there, besides the dance group. Okay, I thought they were all together already joining after episode 1, so this is kind of weird. Okay, so
No, they never actually like totally flushed out the whole alliance thing.
okay,
They proposed it, they talked about it, you know what I mean? But I don't believe they actually ever ironed out an agreement.
okay, because I thought initially they did that, right? Like in the episode 1. So this, okay, so that made a lot of sense because
They proposed it, but they didn't actually like sit down and work out the details and like sign off on it, all the different factions.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense because I was like, I thought we already did this. I thought we were already.
I think maybe some of them did, like one or two of them did, and then other ones didn't.
Yeah, I know this group, what we're seeing this episode, didn't agree, so that made a lot of sense. And then some other group we're going to see next week will probably be the same. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So, and then same time we go back to see. And then we meet up again with Benjamin Pierce, who's with them there. Now joining the group of the Dam, having been brought along in the trunk. The Dam tells Negan not to mess things up today, while she hopes allowed that his family is still safe during their travels without being too explicit. So she's threatening to get into submission. So like, as people forgot, or like this shock of twist that apparently his family is alive after all these years. So that's very intriguing. So let me stop there before we move on to the other plot points. What do you thought about this beginning part of the episode? I thought it was okay, but I don't know. Very slow.
It's the opening is just whatever. The whole setup with the Dama and and then her whole operation, and then the Kurak, and Negan, you know what I'm saying? And then they added that, artistic writer, painter character to the team from last episode. He was there, with the Dama this episode, and and I'll talk about him later on. Kind of a useless character, that obviously is just gonna die. You know what I mean? We could have not even they could have not even put him in the show, it's one thing if like The Walking Dead, if you have secondary characters that are useful and valuable and get killed, you know what I mean? But they still have a presence, they impact the show, you know what I mean, in their time, whatever it is. It might be short or it might be long, right? If you have characters that have no value in a show, regardless of how long that they're there, you know what I mean? Even if it's only one episode or two episodes, that takes away from the show if they're worthless, Yeah. If you don't make them relatable to the audience in some way, you know what I mean, or connect in some way to the audience with the character, right? Then it's a waste, so I feel like the opening of the episode, where it's just them meeting and greeting with Gaius, whatever his name is, that is the actor that plays that character. He's got some weird name. They connect with him, and they have and they meet and greet and let me take off your jackets and all that shit, which was kind of stupid, I thought. You know what I'm saying? Like, who the hell gives a shit about that? Who cares about that in the zombie apocalypse? You know what I'm saying? And
oh god.
And when does the weather ever change in Dead City? You know what I'm saying? Like, when do seasons occur and it gets hot and cold and you know what I'm saying? It seems like we always have the same weather and temperature and everything like every episode of Dead City is the same. You know, like
Yeah.
I know time is passing on the show. You know what I mean? Like we had like a 6-month time gap between season 1 and season 2 when Negan was locked up. You know?
Yeah.
So like time's passing, but like they're not depicting like different seasons. You know, everything is the same. So like it's kind of weird.
Yeah. No, I agree because like in the original Walking Dead, like around what 9 or 10 or something like that. I was watching the recap where they that show also showed like the seasonal time. Like there was one point they had to leave from their town because it was snowing and the whispers. That was like I think it was during the time when the whisper storm was going on, and there was some snow. So like the show knows what to do with the seasonal times, right? And
in the beginning of the Whisperer arc, whatever that was in the show, it starts off in like dead harsh winter. You're right.
Yeah. So and then the other spin-off shows, you know, like the ones who live in Arrow, they've done a good job of telling us what like time season we're in. You know, what like you know like Daryl, you know, over like you haven't been to Europe like I did. You know, it's very cool out there sometimes, and they had to wear like a lot of long jackets. So it's.
I mean, in all honesty, with Daryl Dixon, they don't do a lot with that. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like Dead City.
Yeah, that's true.
It's always the same kind of for the most part when you think about it. They don't do a lot of different changes in climate or like seasons on Daryl Dixon. You know?
Yeah, but at least they're like being creative with their zombies and their action, and they're not boring.
It's always like very moderate, like warm weather on Daryl Dixon. You know, there's never any winter. There's never any snow. There's never rain.
Yeah. Well. And to be fair, though, actually, let's be realistic here. Over there is very different with their weather. Sometimes it is very warm, and sometimes cold. It's very different.
France has 4 seasons.
Yeah, they do, but like, I'm trying to remember. Is that country or
they don't have like a tropical climate or anything like that or whatever. They have winters and they have fall and spring and all that.
Yeah, I'm just trying. I don't know. I'm just blanking it now. I'm just trying to remember what country that has.
France is north above the equator. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know.
Yeah. So
it's in a colder, temperature zone. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, where of course to where it would have like real winters and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah. No. I agree. I forgot the northern part there, but
it boils down to the decision making and the direction of the creators of the TV show, whether or not they want to add elements like that to the show. You know what I'm saying? You know, obviously in The Walking Dead they decided to make that a thing. You know what I'm saying? And have different seasons and stuff like that. Adding like the harsh winters of Virginia or whatever to The Walking Dead was actually a really cool element because you know the way they depicted winter was brutal for them. You know, it was like really rough. You know what I mean? So it was like another villain almost, you know, like a real component of the show almost, you know, for the characters. And it looked cool too. I liked the way it looked with all the snow and all that, you know, visually. Winter looks good. Winter looks really cool sometimes on screen. So, anyways, so to wrap up, I guess, you know, the stuff with Maggie and Herschel Jr. and the Babylon people or whatever is really not like doing a whole lot for us in the audience. You know, like it's hard to like really stay tuned in with that Maggie storyline. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're frozen, sir. Again, you're an Iceman. I've never seen you go Iceman so many times before in a show ever. So you're having some serious Iceman moments. But thank God it's not affecting your audio. No, I mean it's just it's the stuff with Maggie right now is not doing a lot for me. You know, I have a hard time explaining to you or telling to you what the hell was really going on there in the beginning with her. You know, like there wasn't really anything happening. You know what I'm saying? It was just like her, you know, with the Babylonian people, like or whatever, New Babylon or whatever, like I'm not sure where they were at. I can't tell if they got back home already, like to their home base, or if they were like at some other camp like with some other group or something like that. You know, like I wasn't sure where they were at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they were like if they were in the heart of the city, they're not. You know, because their main camp or whatever or base is not in the city. It's like on the outskirts. You know, that's why they had to cross the water. You know, the river to get over there to the city. So wherever their base is kind of like on the outskirts of New York, right?
Yeah. I think
so.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell where they were at, you know. Honestly, to tell you the truth. You know, you know, all I know is that they were talking about leaving, right? Like her and the you know, the sheriff guy, you know, or whatever,
Armstrong.
you know, Armstrong, you know, they were talking about leaving or like going somewhere, you know. And so I don't know. I'm assuming at that point they were still in New York City and they're trying to get away and like go home or something like that. But I don't know. I could be wrong. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure. You know, again, I wasn't really sure during the episode. So you know, it looked like all that really happened was the same deal where Maggie was like giving, you know, like opinions and advice to them, you know, to Armstrong, everything, you know, about like what to do, you know, like where they should go and all that. And he listens to her, you know, because she's so like, you know, experienced and valuable and like, you know, good at giving advice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just showing like, you know, Maggie, like seeing the downtime with these characters. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's very typical. Then,
well, they're still in the city. They have to be. They must be in some other group's camp or something like that, or like place, because they end up hooking up with Negan later in the episode, you know, so they must be in the city still.
Yeah. Well, and watching them over. So, like, getting back, his name is the Bruegel. That's the guy that we're following, the group. So the Bruegel meets up with the dance people in the museum he lives in New York City, and she brought some Walker-produced morphine with her as a gift. And then everyone's being way too nice as the Bruegel is taking everyone on a tour. You know, he's trying to like impress with the dam with his famous art collection, you know, including the painting of George Washington crossing the Delaware. And then the Korak changes the subject and talking about his champion Walker fighter who has won 26 fights in a row. He questions how this could be, which makes the dam nervous, but the Bruegel invites the group to watch this fighter compete in person. And then as the Bruegel and the dance people sit around a large table watching the Walker fight, but the Korak isn't pleased by what he sees. It doesn't help when the Bruegel also makes fun of his accent. Come on, you have a funny accent, you know, like, you know, it's a weird thing to hear, Korak. And then what else? Meanwhile, Benjamin Pierce does himself no favors as well when he suddenly remembers who Dam is. Apparently, she's a this I cracked up. I don't know if you laugh at this, but this was funny to find out the background of this Dam. Apparently, she used to be a famous critic, but later attacked the writer who made a play mocking her. And the Dam looks embarrassed, but Negan loves it. And she changes the subject to Herschel and his drawings. So she knows about that, like Herschel was in the boat, makes sense. And because we got the confirmation that she kind of manipulate and trying to trick Herschel to like be part of the plan she has to take over the New York City. And then let's see.
You lost me on that.
Yeah, what? Well, which part?
Are you talking about the Dama? The Dama
yeah,
wants to control New York City?
Yeah, the Dama wants to take over the city. From last episode when we saw the flashbacks, when Herschel is like flashing back his time as a captive with the Dam, right? And by the way, you say the Dama. I say the Dama, but I don't know what had to say.
That's what she's called, the Dama.
That's so stupid.
It's D-A-M-A, sir, Dama.
Dama. That's such a stupid name. It sounds like a llama, you know, like llamas and you know something like that. That's anyway. I'm gonna call her Mrs. D.
That's how I was an English major in college, sir, and English was my best subject in school. Dama as a word is pronounced Dama. D-A-M-A is pronounced Dama.
This
the A becomes an ah, a low ah when you add the A.
makes sense. All right, I'm gonna go for
So
that.
when you add
All
the
right,
M,
the dam.
when you add the M to the A, you get Dama.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Oh, okay, well, thank you for
Damn would be DAM. Damn would be DAME.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Yeah. So my bad. Sorry, I've been saying the damn too long, but who cares? I mean, the Dama is not a good character, but anyway, thank you for pointing it out. Yeah, the Dama, she gets offended because apparently this kid recognized her because she's used to be a famous critic. I later attacked the writer, like apparently buy off his ear or something like that. In the story, and then at the same time, Negan loves it, and then she changed the subject to Herschel, right, in his drawings, where Dama knows it was who Negan was trying to say, so she knows that. So let me stop here. This section where like we were seeing like the Korak, the Dama, and Negan getting like this like hospitality with this other group, and then we see this like Walker fight Walker like cage, right, and right about it was kind of weird, and I think Negan kind of noticed it as well. Like he recognized that okay, the Walker is not human. It's not a Walker. It's a human person. Which we'll get that reveal later on. What you thought about this section, sir? I mean, it was okay. I have to say, nothing major.
Well, I'm glad to hear your opinions on the episode, sir, because that's I do like to hear that. You know what I'm saying? Not just mine.
Well,
know,
well, let me say here, like this part is.
I don't know why you dropped the whole like the fighter being a human thing. Like that happens later on in the episode. So I don't know why you mentioned that.
I mean,
by bringing it up, you're forcing me to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Like like you're instigating that you want me to talk about it. You know what I mean? But it doesn't happen until later on.
Well, and to be fair though, we don't know if they're gonna pick that up again. Like it was just a one thing in this episode, so I'm
well,
like,
I don't think Negan knew that the fighter was human.
Okay.
In the first fight or whatever, when they're eating the rat, kebabs or whatever, which I gotta be honest with you again, how every episode of Dead City, folks, has really stupid shit happen. At least several stupid things happen. And this episode had its moments. The meal with the fucking rat kebab and one raw carrot on a plate was about the stupidest shit I ever saw in my life. Like, seriously. Like, we get it. We get it, Dead City. We get it, fucking AMC. They eat rats in New York City, Walking Dead. It's been Dead City. We get that. You know what I'm saying? We've seen people eat rats multiple times now. We understand that whole deal. You know what I'm saying? But, like, come on now. Like, they would have, even in the zombie apocalypse, they should have better food than that to eat. You know what I'm saying? Like, other than rats. That was kind of stupid. So, like, you know what I'm saying? Come on now. Like, why would you try to make a rat look, like delicacy looking or whatever? You know what I'm saying? Like, with a sauce on it and shit. Like, disgusting, dude. And like, and like,
oh my god.
And it's the zombie apocalypse. Like, why would you garnish your rat kebab with a fucking raw carrot and like waste that carrot? You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's gonna eat that carrot. Why wouldn't you like keep it and cook it? Like food is a like a major resource. Like in the zombie apocalypse. I'd have to imagine that growing food like vegetables is hard. You know what I'm saying? And like harder than like back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't got any. You don't have any. Like sprays or like pesticide. Like you don't have any fertilizers. You have to buy. Like you know what I'm saying? So like farming is probably tough. Without electricity. Or like machinery to use. You know what I'm saying? Everything is done by hand. So like you'd think that like the stuff that you grow in your garden would be really fucking valuable. So I just thought that was dumb, man. It looked dumb. And, like, I was shocked at how many people actually sat and ate the rat. They all ate it.
Yeah. Well, first up, I mean, look, look, they can cook food from these animals. Like, that's not a big deal. But I do question like how the hell do you have these like when you cook your food, you always season your meat. Like I've been learning to do that recently this month. And in apocalypse, right? It's zombie apocalypse, as you were saying before, Jeff. How the hell they have these seasons if they're going to be rotten and expired at that
They
point?
don't. They would. You
Yep.
wouldn't have it. You wouldn't have salt or pepper or
Yeah, exactly. So I don't like where did they get that? Like it's not like
I mean, you can still find it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, you know,
yeah.
I mean, this is like in the, if I remember correctly. I mean, I walked away from the Walking Dead show, so like,
Yeah.
you know, I can't remember like how long it's been since the event, you know, the apocalypse event when the zombie virus hit. You know,
Yeah.
but I believe it's been less than 10 years since Ground Zero. You know, in this universe, right? I believe it's been less than 10 years. You know, it's not like The Last of Us where it's like 20 years fucking plus later from the event starting. You know what I mean? You know, the Dead City, The Walking Dead is still like, you know, relatively like not that far into the apocalypse. So there would still be stores, like grocery stores you could raid and stuff like that, you know. You know, because so much of the population's been killed already, right? By zombies and shit like that, you know. The groups are small of people, you know what I mean? You know, and you don't see a lot of random people in Dead City. Like you don't see a lot of random humans just coming around, you know, coming along in like groups of 2 or 3, you know, like in The Walking Dead. You'd have that all the time in The Walking Dead. You'd have people just like coming around, stragglers, you know, showing up, you know, in episodes, popping up, you know, bumping into, you know, the Walking Dead characters at times, you know what I mean? Trying to steal shit from people, you know. You don't see any of that in Dead City, right? It's like either you're in a group or whatever, or like you're not there, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, it's just kind of weird where we're getting the how we're progressing the franchise and like what else they have that's like new. I mean, it's kind of like unfortunate, but like I kind of wish we still kept the CRM, right? Because I feel like they could have been great villains for this show, right? Because like right now the Dama, you know, and this whole fraction of like the groups is like okay, but it's like it's not interesting, you know, and it's all about.
I don't agree with you on that. I would have liked it if they had borrowed or brought over the CRM to Dead City as like an overarching villain. I would have thought that would be too much CRM. Like that would be overextending them, you know, as a villain. Right. You know what I'm saying? Every TV show, even if it's a spin-off show, right? Right. The way that your typical television show is supposed to work, especially in this genre, you know, you're supposed to have a villain for each show, you know?
Yeah.
Right? Think about Netflix, Marvel Netflix, right? They had all those shows, you know, yet they never crossed villains over from show to show and all that. They always established, you know, an actual story for each superhero in each show with their own personal individual villains, kind of, for them to fight, you know?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, until the only like I agree with that up to Iron Fist because they brought over the hand, like the hand was really the only thing that they
and the Defenders, they brought the hand over to the Defenders,
that was like the only time they did it. No, I understand where you're coming from. Like, I mean, like I agree. You know, I don't want the CRM to be like everywhere, but like my thing is like I don't want it like an interconnected way. It's more like, look, I just need something familiar that I know, right? It doesn't have to connect the ones who live. It's just like, oh, okay, there's like another like, you know how The Last of Us, the wolves that we're following, they're like the fraction of what the Fireflies was. You know, it's just they're a different group that separated from the Fireflies. That makes sense. I'm saying like we should do that where like this new group that they're facing is part of the CRM before, but it's this new thing because of this leader that's the main villain, right?
I mean, I don't know. Again, I mean, they did the military thing already, like, you know, with you know what I'm saying? You know,
that's true.
That trope is not like something that you can just do over and over and over again. You know what I mean? And have it work, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? Right. And plus they killed off all of the fucking main like CRM characters that we knew and liked, and the ones who live are dead. You know what I'm saying? So like, you know, I mean, they'd have to introduce us to all new CRM characters and all that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? That takes time. You know, like so. I don't think I would like that. You know, like I like the CRM for that one season of Ones Who Live. I think there's like an audio delay between me and you right now. You're hearing me after I talk, I think. No, I mean, yeah, that's just me personally. I like the CRM for the Ones Who Live, but you know, I would expect them, as you know, and want them in Dead City, you know, or Daryl Dixon to give them their own villains, you know, and they should be able to come up with villains, you know, that are somewhat decent. It shouldn't be that hard, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I looked it up, like the budget, you know, stuff for like these shows, and season 1 of Dead City cost $13 million an episode. Okay, so or 12, you know, 12 or 13 million an episode for Dead City, right? Season 1. The Ones Who Live was really expensive. It was like 17 or 18 million an episode. You know, The Ones Who Live was. Remember we talked about that before when we covered it. The budget for that was like 120 million or something like that, or 40 million or something. You know, but Dead City, from what I read, cost more than Daryl Dixon. So how about that? You know, like
makes
sense. I don't know where it's going. You know, the original Walking Dead only cost like 3-point-something million an episode. You know, and then at the end they drop it down a little bit to like 2-point-somethings. You know, an episode, like close to 3. But that's how much The Walking Dead cost to make, right? Even with the salaries, all that or whatever, like, you know, for the actors, it averaged that amount. You know. Somehow that worked. The money worked for them. They were able to work it out budget-wise to pay Daryl Dixon, you know, they were able to pay Norman Reedus $1 million an episode, you know, and all that, and still make the budget for the episodes $3 million in The Walking Dead, right? So they're spending like 4 times that on Dead City. And I just don't know where it's going. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, the walkers don't look super great or anything this season or this show. They're not like spectacular looking, you know. If anything, now they're like getting old and rotting. They're a little bit more boring to watch. Like they're kind of, you know, like they look scary. They're horrific looking, you know, like all you know, dying and like, you know, all falling apart and shit. But they're not as dangerous as they used to be, you know, especially in Dead City. And you know, I mean, the props, the costumes, the sets, you know, like how everything looks. I just don't see where they're spending that money, you know, because even in the shots of this episode where they show New York City, you know, or other episodes, it doesn't look that good. They're shooting in New Jersey, like you mentioned and said, you know what I'm saying, you know, and like honestly, you know, they don't have the ability to get great shots of the New York City with the skyscrapers. It's not there, you know? So when they show New York City shots, it doesn't look like New York City to me.
No. You know? It isn't. I mean, it's really tough. Like, I mean, despite their shooting at Newark, as we discussed last week, in New Jersey, right? And it's really tough to really, like, make this, like, zombie apocalypse in New York City, which is weird. I mean, we got a couple examples that we have movies that are good. Like I Am Legend is a good example that has done a really great job of making that look like the city went to hell in that movie, the 2007 version.
You need abandoned buildings and all that kind of
stuff.
Like you need all this. You need all the different elements that you need in a Walking Dead universe. You know, zombie apocalypse type setting. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and you're not going to get that in New York City.
Well, it's that, but it's also like you're not being creative enough to like use the areas of New York or like the subways or like the sewers to be your setting. Like like Ben like perfectly explained say this before last week. And that like it's weird that this show hasn't done anything that was really creative, not using New York City, like the subway tunnels or hello, All About Crystals. Thank you.
All About Crystals. It was not shot outside of Boston, sir. Look it up, or ma'am, miss. It was shot in Jersey. Like I just pop culture guy said, it was shot in Newark, New Jersey. It's right there on Wikipedia, sir, online. Just look it up.
Wait, hold on. I think he's right because I saw something. They shot New York first season. This season they shot it differently here. That's what I think Crystal was talking about because they changed the location for this season.
I don't know. I thought season 2 was also in Jersey, but I could be wrong.
No. I didn't talk about it last week, but like the new location in Dead City now is at where Crystal was mentioning around Boston, so that's probably why he's bringing it up. I don't know the gender. Massachusetts, the around Boston, right there. So yeah, because the first season was shot in New Jersey, and then this season they are showing it in a different location, and I think I don't know if that's the reason that they're having trouble to like with the show is the fact they're shooting in a different location, and that's causing more problem because when you do shoot a different location, because I don't know, it's kind of weird because like it doesn't matter if you're shooting a different location. A lot of the scenes can easily be placement for the city. Like Canada has always been used for either New York or whatever, because of their skylines. Like that's the thing. It's like it's easy to cover these these other locations to be the city you're sitting, right? So I don't understand the trouble here with this show.
I mean, honestly, again, if you figure that the budget for season 2 is similar to the one from season 1, which you figure it would be, right?
Yeah.
Even shows that aren't very good or that don't do a lot well with ratings, they still maintain the same budgets from season to season, give or take, right? So if you figure that they're still paying $12 to $15 million an episode for Dead City, I'm just at a loss, as to how that's, they're spending that much money, and I don't understand why. I'm kind of shocked that they didn't just stick to Georgia as a shooting location. I'd have to imagine that, like, with all of the use and exposure that Georgia's gotten in like the last 10 years for all the tax breaks they have for for movie companies and TV companies and all that.
Yeah,
they must have quite a few studios now and and lots and areas where they have sets and stuff like that. In Georgia now, right? They must have companies that that work with and facilitate the industries. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. It's just I think it's because like they set themselves in a corner because they got this idea of like New York City as the premise of the show, and it's all called Dead City, but like I think there's other cities you could call it Dead City, like Boston or Atlanta. You were talking about, Jeff. So I don't know. I agree. I don't know why they couldn't just stick with the Georgia location. It's been the main land for one thing.
I don't know if you're gonna shoot in Massachusetts outside of Boston. Why wouldn't you just shoot New York City?
Yeah,
I can't imagine it costs that much more money to just shoot in New York City than it does in Boston.
I don't know. I don't know if it's just the tax. I don't know what's going on with New York with their tax for.
Oh, New York has the most crazy high taxes like in the country, other than California. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know about the taxes when it comes to the industries, though. They could be lower.
Yeah, I know. Of course, for Atlanta, UK, it's very cheap, very good. I think I'm trying to figure what other ones they're good.
It changes all the time. That certain countries all the time just decide to create those crazy lower, low tax rates, right, for the film industry and for television and all that. And
yeah, that's true.
You never know. Certain countries just decide to do it.
No, I agree. Yeah, some countries they don't allow, the shootings as you're saying, because I try to remember. Yeah, because sometimes they will not allow them to do action scenes in their cities if they're going to cause a lot of damage in these old cities. They're not going to allow them to shoot it, and because
you're not allowed to damage what I'm saying. You can't damage stuff in cities when you shoot. You can't do that.
Yeah, and the reason I'm bringing that up because like I heard recently, this was for it's not for a zombie movie, but like one of the James Bond movies, then the Daniel Craig ones, they were shooting in Rome, and the reason I say that because that action scene was so bad because it was so boring because they couldn't do anything that was so action packed because the city allowed them to shoot it, but they gave them one note. It's like do not destroy or do anything crazy that will like cause collateral damage in their town, destroy the old, city and blah blah blah, So like it's a good example of like it's frustrating. It's like, oh my god, like I want to see like the city is so perfect for the movie, but then it's like, oh, you're restricted. And that's another thing I don't know if like they're restricted to the areas they're in. Like, like first season they were shooting in Newark, which is a bad city. That's another thing we should brought up. Probably the reason they move is because Newark has a reputation, and so it's like why you want to shoot the worst city ever in New Jersey, because I talked about that last week.
I know.
It's
I said something about it. Remember, I was like, "Hey, man, what the fuck are they doing in Newark?"
Yeah, you brought it up. Yeah. No, good point. Yeah, and
nobody wants to be in Newark. People who live in Newark don't want to be there. They want to leave Newark. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Get me out of here. Please
nobody's moving to Newark. Like nobody's, like there's nobody out there that's like hanging out like, oh man, I'm gonna move from Nebraska to Newark. Nah, man.
No. Don't go there, folks. It's really bad.
Anybody who grows up in the tri-state area type part of the country, up in New York, Jersey, Massachusetts, all that, you know what I'm saying? Knows about Newark, and its reputation and all that. You know what I mean? There's no way to not hear about it.
Yeah, very famous.
It used to be really dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, very dangerous. I saw the statistics when we were doing it last week.
New York City used to be really dangerous back in the day. New York City was really dangerous. Crime got really bad.
Oh yeah, I mean, what during like the 70s up to the late 80s.
The city was really dirty. Like more dirty than ever. Than like now. You know what I'm saying? Like like
I don't know about that. I mean, it's been dirty before. But,
I've heard about it. That during different periods of history, like the city's been dirtier or cleaner. More crime, less crime. You know what I mean?
It's crazy over New York. It's crazy, but. It's at least functional. Like that's the thing. Like Newark is not functional. It's just crazy. But anyway, but yeah. So that's what.
I just wanted to say I didn't mean to cut you off, but when you live in New York City or you live in a big city, whether it's Newark or whatever, you have to take into consideration, and you do that you're going to be you're living in a more dangerous area. You have to be more alert and like aware of what's going on in the city.
Yeah.
I mean. The minute you're in a big city, you can tell that's what you have to do. You know what I mean? Like, there's just a lot of dangerous stuff around. You know what I mean? Like, potentially you have to be on defense.
Yeah, no. My mom always say that to me when we go to the city. So it's always the major thing. So yeah, oh, okay. That's awesome. Apparently about Christmas.
Oh, I can see it. Yeah,
and then you have New York as well. Okay, awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom is a native New Yorker, but yeah, like it's kind of crazy. But then it doesn't make sense. It's like if you cannot shoot Newark anymore, shoot another place in New Jersey. Like
I don't know where I heard a long time ago when we first covered Dead City season 1. Hey Jill, just call me Jill. She said, no, I remember I thought they shot it in Canada. I swear to God, I heard an article one time that they were shooting the show in Canada.
Yeah. No. It makes sense. I mean, Canada is a good placeholder for New York. Like their architecture is really great.
Well, I mean, occasionally you're going to read an article or like read something online that's going to be wrong about something. You know what I mean? It happens.
Yeah. Well, this show is very secretive for some reason. Like you don't know what's going on with this show. Like, I mean, it's been like 2 years since the first season. Like, where the other spin-off shows, they're like very quick. Like, we're getting Daryl season 3, like in October or something like that this year, or I don't know.
I can't remember the exact date. I remember I knew it. I knew it before because I told you. Remember when we talked about it a long time ago? I was like, hey, Daryl's going to be out in like whatever month, right? I think it's like July. I think it's actually like July.
July. Okay.
Yeah, or August or something like that. It comes out.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. But,
I think they only actually drop one trailer for these shows. There's not two trailers, it's one. So like,
yeah, it's weird what they do. Sorry. Yeah, it's usually like a teaser, and then that's really it. They don't like. I kind of like what they do because they don't spoil too much of the season. Which is
all they did for Fearless in season 2 and for Dead City season 2 was 1 2-minute trailer, 2-minute plus trailer for both shows. You know.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
And they released their trailers close to the actual release date of the show too. You know, the AMC. The trailers don't come out until literally like 2 or 3 weeks before the show comes out.
Yeah, which is a good thing because you don't need too much footage.
Well, it's different than Marvel, you know. Like, I mean, there's been times in the history of the MCU where they've released trailers for movies and TV shows 4, 5, 6 months before they come out.
Yeah, well, and I mean, yeah, it's a part of the movie stuff, marketing and all that. Yeah, it's very traditional there. You know, TV is very different. Sometimes they will do like the traditional movie like marketing. Sometimes they will do it differently and just like release a teaser and then wait until like the month before the month when the show is releasing. They will release a new trailer 2 weeks prior to release and premiere.
Well, again, the MCU is a totally different category of situation. You know, like even now, like with the fandom that's still left for the MCU, you know, like. There's still like a buzz type element with the MCU where people talk about it at the water cooler and stuff like that. You know, like people chat talk about what happens in the MCU. You know, when everyone goes to the movie, you know, or watches the show, people bullshit about it. You know, and when trailers come out, that's what same thing happens. You know what I'm saying? We talk about them. You know, like it creates buzz.
Yeah, I agree. We'll probably talk about it maybe after this episode review, but like the Avengers movies have moved their date to now December's.
What is there to say about that? You know what I'm saying? That's all there. It is what it is. It's a flat out statement. They move the release dates, and there's no conversation to be had. You know what I mean? We already talked about it a little bit. Remember?
Did we? When was that?
Yeah. Right? There's nothing else to talk about it. We talked about it. We talked about it on Sunday last night on your live stream.
Oh yeah. Briefly, with Fantastic Four and all that.
Yeah. Because what else was there to say? You know what I mean? Like,
that's true.
They moved their release dates for the movie. So what is that? So what conversation we're gonna have it with that? You know, like, okay, so that means that maybe there might be some different movies that come out. You know, that's it.
Yeah.
It's not going to affect the films or like who's in them or like No.
You know what I'm saying? And also, I don't think we mentioned this. I'm happy they moved their dates because they have more time to like make the special effects more polished.
I'm not. They've had plenty of time to make a new Avengers movies. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I mean that's a different conversation. Yes, I like it was a mistake for them.
Now they're just putting them off even farther out. You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, honestly, by the time that we actually finally get an Avengers movie, it's going to be fucking 6, 7, 8 years since we got one. You know, after 10 years or whatever plus, where we got an Avengers movie every 3 years.
I don't know what to say. I mean, that's their fault. So anyway,
that's what I'm saying. I don't feel bad for Marvel or studios. You know what I'm saying, or Disney or whatever. You know, like I'm not happy that they pushed those films out as a fan.
All right. Oh, I mean, look.
You brought it up. I'm just telling you what I think.
Oh, that's true. Well, I mean, anyway, you have a good point. I mean, some people don't like it. I mean, it's, it does scream desperation.
It's not good for Marvel. It's not good for the MCU in general. Like, like as far as fans go and all that, the audience and all that, it does not help them to put those films out another year for each of them, Yeah,
that's true. Well, but then at the same time, it helps the other films and other projects they have to make it more cohesive and better way to build.
I don't know about that though, because honestly, the way Marvel Studios has always operated, they're not the kind of company or that can just decide to like come up with new movie projects they can do on the fly. You know what I'm saying? That they have right on the ready to make up for putting off another set of films. In the MCU, they don't work that way. They everything's planned years ahead. You know, still to this day, they're still doing it like that, to where they have a goal, you know, with the phases for what they want to put out. So they don't have other film projects that they can just go to right now, you know, and stick in there and make the movies and put them out. They're not there.
True. At the same time, they have other projects besides the movies. They have that will make us be more comfortable. I mean, we have the TV stuff now, but we'll see. I don't know what to say about the Avengers movies. I think it's a good move.
You know, I'm right. The show, the TV shows are not that good. They're not helping the MCU.
Yeah, that's true.
Very few people in the Marvel audience even watch those shows. You know, it's
that's
the movies that are the main card. You know what I'm saying? It's the films. They're the movie makers. They're the money makers. They're the impactful, cultural, like impactful, you know, events when they're done right, to where, you know, that's what drives the MCU is the films.
Yeah. No, I agree.
The shows are fun to talk about and cover and everything, and they're fun to watch, but they're not as impactful or powerful, you know, as the MCU films are. There's restrictions to a TV show in the MCU. The movies, there's still stuff you can do you can't do in TV.
No, I agree. Yeah, the shows have been really like what was the word, like hampering the MCU, and you know, it hasn't really helped at all. I mean, it's been very difficult for them to either interconnect them with the movies, especially like stuff like Spider-Man, like you know, Daredevil and stuff like that. But yeah,
we've had that conversation before, sir. You know, about the fact that, you know, the Disney Plus Marvel TV shows have been hit or miss, and I don't know whether they've really helped or hurt at times the MCU. You know, in all honesty, you know. Yeah, and on top of that, all they end up doing is creating all these excess secondary characters, you know, in these shows. You know what I'm saying? And that's just adding more characters to the MCU at that point, you know. And you can't fit all of them. They can't all, like, you know, have a home in movies. You know what I'm saying? There's only so many spots to put in these films.
Yeah. No. Well, I mean, I don't know about the whole release date. They're fine. I don't think, like, I don't need too many movies to interconnect the Doomsday and Secret Wars. And plus, you know, Disney is totally.
We had 1 year where we had one MCU movie, right? Last year.
That was fine.
You know, yeah. Okay, no, I'm just saying, yeah, but that was supposed to be an aberration. That was supposed to go back to 3 a year, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna get 3 this year, and then as of right now, there is no MCU film at all to be set to come out next year in 2026. There's nothing. There'll be no MCU films.
No. What are you talking about? July, we had Spider-Man, Brand New Day, and then December, yes.
That's when Spider-Man comes out.
Yeah.
Brand New Day.
Yeah. So we have, like, they got rid of the February 2026 because that's no longer an MCU thing. That's going to be something else for Disney, whatever. So Spider-Man is still coming out. It's coming out in 2026, July. And then now Avengers is now coming after Spider-Man, and it's in December. And then 2027, we do have.
Okay, so December of 2026 is when the first Avengers film comes out.
Yeah, Doomsday. So let me like update like the release date now with this, because they did change a couple things there. Yeah, so like Spider-Man Brand New Day is coming out July 31st, 2026. That's going to be our secondary movie in the Phase 6. And then Avengers Doomsday is December 18th, and then Secret Wars is December 17th, 2027. We don't have any movies in 2027, so that's going to be our only movie in terms of MCU of, you know, that, besides, you know, all the TV stuff, which doesn't matter.
So yeah, so there you go. There's going to be a blank year now for MCU, you know, which I think, again, it's a couple of years out, but still, that's not good.
No, I don't think it's a bad thing.
But well, it is kind of a bad thing. I don't. Obviously, what are you talking about? How is it not a bad thing for the MCU to have no movies in a year?
Here's the thing: you have to understand, when you have multiple movies that year, it's hard for us. Like, it's hard to make it be a big event. Look at what happened with Captain America 4 and Thunderbolts. They haven't made the big money they should have done.
The MCU, yes, and it would not have helped them if there would have been breaks of where there were years where there were no MCU films at all. That would not have helped the Thunderbolts or helped Captain America 4 with their financial issues.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The problems with those movies, the problems with why those movies didn't make that much money had nothing to do with this conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, there's
at the end of the day, I think anybody overall, most people would agree. And
Yeah.
when it boils down to it, it's going to hurt, not help, the MCU to not put any films out in a year.
I disagree. I don't.
The consistent norm for the MCU has always been they put out at least 1 or 2 films a year since they've been out.
Well, and I want to talk to the people, but that
you've got to stay relevant, Andres, don't you?
Yeah, but they are already irrelevant with other things. That's the thing you're not thinking. Like, yes, I know the television are really bad. They don't feel important, but at the same time, there's other stuff that Marvel can do to keep them already in the public eye, besides the movies, you know? And, you know, like, remember, we're going to get X-Men 97, so they're going to have another big thing for that. We got, you know, other things for Spider-Man besides, you know, the live-action movie. And then, plus, let me tell you something. I never liked the idea of Marvel going for 3 movies. That, like, because the fact that they were rushing their special effects people, I know it's been a while we discussed this, but we know they report that they rush so much of their
you can have a complaint or have a negative opinion about that conversation, you know, the 3 movie versus 2 movie, whatever. What I'm saying is, at the end of the day, you don't agree that when it boils down to it, the films themselves for the MCU are the best vehicle for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, nothing else really at the end of the day, you know, creates the impact culturally, you know, overall, you know, it creates the impact than putting the movies out. And at the end of the day, the way the MCU works and has always worked has been, you know, has been a place where they need to continuously make films every year and put them out in order to have places and spots for all their characters and stuff like that, you know, and secondary characters to be able to be on screen so you can actually see them. You know what I'm saying? And connect with them, you know, and they're still alive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, and I see where you're coming from. I gotta say, I think with this new schedule, I think they can achieve that because first off, people do care about the Avengers movies. So I mean, despite, you know, how crazy the production are with these new Avengers movies, people are excited to see the film. You know, there is a curiosity.
You're right. And so at that point, how does it benefit the fans to have the movie put out farther?
It doesn't.
What fan is going to be happy about that? When you like the MCU, why would you be okay with? We haven't had an Avengers movie in 8 years, man.
That's a good thing. That's building up, you know, the anticipation of seeing these films, sir. It's not a bad thing, you know.
Andres, it is bad. We got an Avengers movie every 2 or 3 years, man. What are you talking about? Are you forgetting about the history of the MCU? We got an Avengers movie every 3 years. Remember? That's how it used to work.
But at the same time, you know, we had sequels that took longer and they made money. I know it's different for the MCU, but I mean, look, we have to face the fact that the Marvel Studios made this decision not to make, you know, Avengers movies in these phases. I don't like the idea, but they are making these to be like Avatar / you know, Star Wars event kind of movies for the Avengers. So it makes sense that we're going to take a much longer approach with these movies. And look what happened with Avatar. Like, it took I don't know how many years they took for the sequel. Did very well.
I don't want to compare Avatar to the MCU. You can't compare the MCU to anything else. There is nothing else you can compare to it.
No, like, it's not a comparison. It's more of like, okay, what they're doing is similar to what another franchise has been doing. And then they're trying to do that approach. And Disney has been doing that. So with these other franchises, you know. And look, you know, I get where you're coming from. I am, you know, a little impatient. Like, I'm very upset that they didn't put any Avengers movies in these phases, but they made that decision, and that was their fault. So, I'm still excited. I mean, I hope Crystals can vouch for me that, you know, she's like probably excited to see the movies, no matter the crazy fucked ups they've been doing with these last phases have been not good. So people are still excited for it. Like, look at Deadpool Wolverine. That was the only movie in phase 5 for 2024. Guess what? It did money. So if the Avengers, like the fact
Deadpool Wolverine did money because the movie was titled Deadpool Wolverine.
Well, yes, but the Avengers is also popular as well with those 2 characters. So Secret Wars is going to be the only MCU film. Guess what? It's going to perform better. It's going to have more attraction during December. So, you know, Disney not had to worry about these other movies. Like, these other movies are different from the Avengers movie. So I'm not worried about it. Everything makes sense in a very like strategic
I
way
don't
for
know. I'm
business.
not worried about. I'm not worried about it either because it's not my money and it's not my like reputation, at stake.
Yeah.
With the
I
films. You know
understand
what I'm
that.
saying? I mean, I do care because I'm a fan, but at the end of the day, at the end of the day, I don't like the way that they set up the Avengers film, the next Avengers film. Like, coming off the Thunderbolts, like, and then Spider-Man 4, and then you're going to give us the Avengers out that, like, you know what I'm saying, as like a setup, like usually previously in the MCU, they've always set up the Avengers films, kind of, right? And in this situation, I'm not really sure they've done, just making the Thunderbolts the new Avengers as a setup, because you already know that in Spider-Man 4, the Spider-Man films are not about doing things like connecting to the Avengers, you know what I'm saying, or the overarching, universe of the MCU. That's not how Spider-Man movies work. Spider-Man films are about Spider-Man, and his own contained individual stories. You know what I'm saying? With his own villains and all that kind of shit, right?
Yeah. No. See, okay, that part I do agree.
You can't take a Spider-Man film, right, and then use that in any way, like Doctor Strange 2 or something, as a vehicle. You know what I'm saying? That you can just use and bend and twist for the MCU, or pop other characters into it, right?
Yeah. No. I see where you're coming from.
You can do that with other characters, but not Spider-Man.
Well, and unfortunately, I mean, I don't know what kind of movie this new one's going to be. It could be a setup for Doomsday. We don't know. I need to see.
I thought Peter Parker's trajectory as Spider-Man after the last film was that he was going back to a street level Spider-Man, college age Peter Parker, right? Isn't that what happened?
Yeah,
that's where we're at.
Yeah, that's where we're at. But I mean,
and all the rumors have been for 2 years, whatever, after the Spider-Man 3 came out, that we might get Kingpin, and like have like a very hardcore, in New York City setting for Spider-Man 4, that might not possibly be in the film Daredevil,
Yeah, I heard that too. I think we're still plotting it just in a different way. I mean, I'm hearing rumors now with the villains, but I don't know. You want to get into that, but like, yeah.
Even if they give Spider-Man 5 of his villains in Spider-Man 4, Spider-Man is not a character, where you can add or blend in connections to the Avengers, for instance, right? Like, and the events that are going to occur in the Avengers. You can't use a Spider-Man film as a space to like add like the Avengers to it. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying, but then the thing that's kind of like a little contradictory is like No Way Home was really the big step for the multiverse. So, I mean, I get Loki was the first that did the multiverse, but you have to think about it. The big wide audience, Spider-Man No Way Home was the thing that opened up the multiverse.
All the multiverse. No, we already got the multiverse before in the MCU at that point before Spider-Man 3. All the multiverse was in Spider-Man 3 was that it gave them an opportunity to bring back other characters. You know what I'm saying? Tobey Maguire. You know what I'm saying, and all that. You know what I mean? Having the multiverse allowed that. And then they made Spider-Man 3 the third film out of the trilogy of WandaVision, Doctor Strange 2, and Spider-Man 3, and they connected it.
Yeah.
Remember?
That's true, but you have to understand. No one has seen Loki, so I'm saying more realistically as a person who was working
in the films. Yes, that was the multiverse being shown like in a film adaptation. Yes,
like that's why I'm saying like I get there was other things that did set up the multiverse, but like technically and realistically, people heard of the start of this because of that movie, and it was a big thing. No Way Home made a lot of money. Anything else to say about the Avengers setup, like the release date? I mean, I agree with you. It's like I just wish they kept Kane as the villain. That's the thing that's very annoying about this. It's like they're rushing. Like we haven't really discussed about Doctor Doom. It's like they're rushing into Doctor Doom, and it's like,
I heard a rumor from one YouTuber that I've known for a while. That's kind of small, like a small YouTuber, but he has a pretty decent sized channel. He actually said that the rumors were yesterday that RDJ is signed up to only do Doctor Doom for the 2 films, the Avengers films, and then they're gonna recast Doctor Doom right after that immediately with another character, and that's it for RDJ in the MCU.
All right, I'm happy about that. I mean, I definitely, because I do want the Doctor Doom to versus the Fantastic Four. You know, if you're a big Fantastic Four fan.
He said some crazy shit about like they might even like potentially recast the role or whatever for the second Avengers film, Secret Invasion. He said that too.
Really?
But that makes no sense.
That's weird. We'll see. I mean, the Secret Invasion thing is like, I don't know, Marvel's gonna touch that at all after the TV show.
I mean, honestly, if they're really going to do Secret Wars or whatever, then there's going to be more than one villain. It's not going to be just Doom, you know. So like, they have some options with some different stuff they can do, different villains, right? Where they can do something interesting if they want, you know. I mean, they're bringing Ultron back for Vision Quest, you know. So Ultron's back in play.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I mean, if they're gonna do the other storyline from the original Secret Wars where they were the villains section, I can see them doing that. I mean, we have I know Loki is a good guy, you know, because of the show, but like, yeah, we had Loki, we got Magneto, and Doom, and then you can, substitute that with other villains like, Namor is there, so he's another villain.
I don't want to see a whole lot of what's his name, Fox Magneto character in the film, in those films, man. I don't want a lot of. They're not going to have a lot of scenes with him in them. Ian McKellen, nah.
We'll see.
They can't. Come on, Andres. You can't overdo that shit, man. The multiverse stuff with these Fox X-Men characters and stuff like that. Well, you can't feature them prominently in these Avengers films. They have to be in as like cameos, like Deadpool 3.
Maybe. I don't know.
Where they're in a section of the movie for a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And then that's it.
We'll see. I don't know. That's
Andres, it's not we'll see. You know as well as I do, sir, that you can overdo the multiverse shit. The multi-dimensional multiverse, crap with older characters and different characters. If you overdo it, it gets stupid.
I mean, unfortunately, they already done that. They already overdid it. So I don't know what else you want me to say. I mean, they already are pushing the limit to this multiverse thing in their saga. So, I mean, what else they're going to do? They're going to milk all they have with this X-Men stuff.
What reason did they purposely only have Tobey Maguire and what's his name? It's Spider-Man.
Andrew Garfield, sir. How dare you?
Sir. Why do they only have them in the final third of the movie and not the whole movie?
I mean, well, first, it was a good story. I actually like what they did with.
That's not what I asked you, sir. My question was, why are they in the third part of the movie, but not the full movie? They're very popular characters. You know what I'm saying? Very popular.
I mean, yeah.
People like that concept, but why were they not in the whole movie?
I can give you a lot of reasons. They were expensive, and plus that idea.
Sir, actors don't get paid like that way. That's not how they get paid.
Yeah. Well, with those two, I mean, remember, their last movies were really bad, and there was no way they were going to come back, because of Sony, So the fact that they actually came back was kind of crazy. They did, and plus,
What are the main reasons, though? The main reason why, am I not correct, that they were not in the whole movie is because, for one, it's a very token thing to all of a sudden bring in already gone or dead or no longer active characters, you know what I'm saying? That are favorites of fans, to bring characters like that back, you know what I'm saying? Kind of a la real, back to life kind of, like the way they did, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a kind of move where you can only have so much of it. You know what I'm saying? It's only going to shine for so long in a 2.5 hour film. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I've seen so many versions of these kind of stories. That's the thing that I was not understanding where you're coming from. There's other ways that you could do it. Yes, there are some bad ones that I don't like how to do in their multiverse, but I totally forgot what you were saying. And I mean, I get what they were trying to do in No Way Home. It made
If
sense
they
what
would
they
have,
did
if
here.
they would have had Toby and Andrew Garfield in that whole film, I don't think it would have been as valuable. They
No,
wouldn't have been as impactful in the movie. You know what I'm saying?
no, no, no,
It would have diluted their roles. It would have diluted their impact.
no, no. I agree. I think No Way Home did a really good job of balancing that to the team, because where the other ones I didn't like Doctor Strange 2 was really bad. What they did with their characters and the cameos, and Deadpool Wolverine was I think better what they did, against Doctor Strange 2, but not as perfect as No Way Home. No, I see where you're coming from. But I unfortunately they Marvel Studios gonna admit that, so we'll see what they're gonna do with the X-Men. I mean, that's the tough thing for me. It's like there were other characters they missed out that we already discussed in previous live stream reviews over my channel and your channel.
There's only so much room in one movie, one Avengers movie for so many characters and so much screen time for those characters at the end of the day. Yeah. As you already know, sir, they're planning on doing more characters than we had in Infinity War, in these Avengers films. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that means less screen time for each character, right? So
yeah. I mean, I know everyone doesn't like that the Russo brothers are directing it, but there is a chance they're gonna follow. A lot of people. Who
out there is complaining about the Russo brothers directing the Avengers?
I mean, they're worried. They're worried about them directing because of their bad Netflix movies. But whatever.
What?
Yes. I know you need to check out the other YouTube videos.
I haven't heard any of that stuff. I didn't know about that. I don't know how anybody could forget that they directed Endgame and Infinity War.
I know, but it's a long story. But anyway, like I'm surprised you haven't think about this. With these movies, with the fact that the Russo brothers are coming back to direct these movies, they're gonna follow like the format that we got with Infinity War Endgame. You remember how Infinity War we're focusing on the different fractions of superheroes in Infinity War, where in Endgame we're really focused on the original six, like the small group of heroes that survived from the snap. So I get what you're saying about like so many of these characters we have here with the X-Men and all that. If you follow what they did, it's pretty simple. How can
you copy that when the second film is Secret Wars?
Well,
Secret Wars is the film that demands more characters than other two films. You know what I'm saying? Secret Wars as a story is all about the battle between two sides. You know what I'm saying?
I get that. I mean? Yes, I know, but not similar. But the thing is, we didn't have all the announcement of the other characters, so we're going to see the other characters that were not in Doomsday are going to be in Secret Wars, and that's going to be the big ones. That's where we'll probably see again Andrew and Toby again in Secret Wars, not in Doomsday.
That's why I don't think that our Infinity War to Endgame deal is going to be copied at all in these films.
Not copied. Just they're just going to follow not a similar route, like something that was like the structure of the films. They we're probably going to follow a fraction of the heroes. The good sample.
Yeah, that makes commonsensically, right? It would make sense that they would have only a certain amount of people, Avengers and characters in the first film, and then that would build up to a big, massive thing with more characters in the second movie.
Exactly.
Which is the opposite of Infinity War and then Endgame. It's the opposite.
Exactly. So that's they're trying to do here. That makes sense, and I think that's a good way to do the multiverse. So that's my piece of it. I think that's what they're going to do. That's good, and I can trust them for doing that. So you want to get back to Walking Dead because we really went out topic now.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
Yes. I'm sorry, viewers, Walking Dead fans. I'm sorry we talked about MCU stuff. To be honest, this episode was really bad and boring. So.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know why you're apologizing. I mean, honestly, every time we do an episode of Dead City, we have to talk about other stuff in order to make it work.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. At least we got, Jill is in the comments, so at least we got someone to talk.
Folks, we're not bullshitters over here. Me and Andres on the MCU'S Beating Edge on Monday nights doing Dead City. We tell you at the end of the day how we feel about this stuff, and you know, if you want to take our advice or whatever, you know, and like hear what we have to say and believe us, like, you know, and if that causes you to not watch Dead City or something like that, hey, you know, like that's you know, that shit like that happens. You know what I'm saying? And I would not blame you. You know, like we're not lying about this shit. Dead City is not like a lot of fun to watch right now and cover.
Yeah.
Put yourself in our shoes, folks. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like
yeah. You see, like even talking about the new Avengers movies, there was way more to talk about than this episode, folks. This is showing you how bad it really is for us. So,
City episode 4 is not a very good episode.
Yeah, no, it was pretty, like, it was still boring, which it really pissed me off. Like
nothing happened. There was no good action at all. You know, watching those zombies fight each other, the human zombie and the zombie, that was boring.
Yeah, and like that's why I brought it up early, because like I don't care about this twist. Like, why you want to do this twist about their fire is a human? It's like,
for real. And then the guy kills him. Like, who gives a fuck?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why do we care? Why do we care?
Yeah, like,
the audience.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. Like, that was so weird. Why, like, he did it? And it was like, why?
What kind of fucking asshole would actually fucking swap out a fucking zombie walker with a fucking human and have the human pretend to be a walker and fight other walkers? Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? We were wondering this whole time how it was fucking humanly possible to like train a walker to fight one-on-one, like in combat. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it made no sense. You know what I mean? It was like, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now we know, and it's stupid. You know?
Yeah, it's stupid. And then apparently he said it was 26 wins. I'm like, really? 26 wins?
I would hope he would win every fight. He's a fucking human.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and then I'm sorry. Like, I don't. Like, it's
what was up with that one walker that was like hiding, like running away in the arena or whatever during the fight? Yeah. Since when do walkers like run away from combat fighting?
I think that was intentionally funny. I think the guy who was in the mask of the walker is like,
no, wasn't that his opponent? That was
it was. I'm like jokingly saying that I think the walker was like so bored of this, and like he was trying to run away like a pet, and I was like, I don't want to do this.
They're changing the whole science and everything, you know what I'm saying? And like, you know, and like all that like behind walkers, like, you know, in Dead City, and it makes no sense.
I know. The other thing that doesn't make sense, I don't understand what's going on with these walkers. It's just so bad.
I mean, they were fighting with hand to hand in this episode, like blows, like, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, the fight, you know, like no weapons or anything, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and what they were to cover, like they were covered with armor, and like they were like in a gladiator, like why you want to do that for a walker? I get they were trying to cover that with the human, but then that should have been more auspicious to everyone who will probably bet on these things. And it's like, wait, why is this one walker covered with this armor where the other isn't?
I'm just shocked that all these people who live in the fucking zombie apocalypse aren't blown away and like saying anything. You know what I'm saying? When walkers do crazy shit like run away from like biting people and shit, and like being a zombie. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden they just start running away from like, you know, people and shit, from other zombies and shit fighting. Like I'd be like, what the if I was Negan, I'd be like, what the fuck is that? Did you see that? You know what I'm saying?
I know.
Like, damn. You know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of have to pay attention to that kind of shit when you live in that, you know, spot. You know what I mean? Like, you know. So, like, I'd be saying something like, damn, what's up with that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd be questioning that human, like, walker fighter. I'd be like, what the fuck is going on with this guy? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, how is this guy, like, you know, like, fighting, like, you know, like, he's an actual, like, boxer or whatever, you know? Like, you know what I'm saying? Come on, man.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, I don't know. It was so stupid. I didn't get why they did it. It was so dumb. I'm happy that he died, and you know, I guess the walker won eventually.
Yeah, how are you gonna have a champion walker? Like in The Walking Dead, there are no walkers that like stand out different than the other walkers, and like, you know, have special abilities and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, like in the original show, like we had
none of them are smarter than other ones. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're all the same.
Yeah.
They all have the same level of intelligence. You know, they do the same shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Except for Daryl Dixon, where you know we got other zombies, you know, similar, but like they are like different, you know, with hence, you know, drugs and
Well,
all
they're
that. And
enhanced, yeah, hybrid
yeah,
enhanced
yeah,
form.
hybrid,
You know
you
what I'm
know,
saying?
right,
Yeah.
yeah. And see, if they did that, that makes sense that they're doing this like fight, you know, like ME, I don't how you call it, like ME fight kind of like style, you know, cage fight, whatever, you know, like okay, that makes sense. But like, but these people are not doing that to these walkers, these like enhanced drugs, like we've seen before in another show. So I don't know, like it's just so silly. And
No, the Kirak questioned that one dude and was like, "Are you juicing your fucking walker fighter? You know what I'm saying, or whatever? You know, are you
yeah,
juicing up? You know what I mean?" And like,
yeah,
you know, we had all that happen. You know what I mean? You know, which was
yeah,
interesting. But like, you know,
yeah, that is funny.
but that didn't go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, that just went nowhere. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
Yeah, he was like, yeah, it went nowhere because like he was more like the car ride was like more focused on his affection with the sorry, I'm blanking the girl, the lady, the mom, that's the
the Dama.
the dama, thank you, the dama, because she's now favoring Negan because Negan is saying the right words to like entice this the blue guy, whatever his name is, this guy Scroop. And so I was like, okay, like I mean, I guess so. Um, yeah, just you know, just wrapping up, you know, like other storylines that like it was kind of obvious, like you know, going back to the scene cap, you know, Herschel, you know, tells Maggie and Armstrong that he did see Negan in Central Park, you know, from last week's episode. You know, that was also bad. Remember the chick getting her heart out and then becoming a walker, and then they didn't eat the heart, they just ran off like that. See that was foreshadowing this episode, seeing the walker like getting away from the human walker. So he, and then that is bad for Armstrong because he told everyone that he killed Negan. So I don't know what they're gonna do with that. So it will probably make that awful chick in the new blonde to take over and like, this guy lied to you, so I'll be the new person, follow him. Yada yada yada. You know, so Herschel mentions the gun that he found in Janine. Speaking of Janine's bag, so we got Janine talking again, like briefly. She has the gun. The lady that I don't like, whatever her name is like she sees it and he tells her, you know, about like she's like after Negan because he killed his father, you know, all that, all boring stuff. Like I'm surprised Janine surviving, and it's like really awful. So
what's going on now? Jenny, I thought Negan killed Jenny's father.
yeah, so because last season it was so quick. So for Negan to like have Janine be protected by to be with Maggie, he confesses that I killed your father. That's why you're with me. So
Oh, I forgot about that.
yeah, so that's why she's carrying that gun. If you know, if you're just like me, who's just like so desperate to have a story, like they have this story and it's like okay, you know, but if you didn't know that from first season and this season, it's like okay. But yeah, it's just like
Well,
it's like I don't care about this character, Jeannie, whatever her name is, this girl that apparently
yeah,
was abused.
Jenny. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
don't know why she's still on the show, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
honestly,
exactly.
like you know, like it's all I'm doing is wasting screen time with her.
Yeah, and that's another
You
thing
know?
about yeah, that's another thing about our guests that we have, like Ben and some other one like I don't know, Jeff Rett came here, but like yeah, the side characters are really bad this season. Like I mean, besides Armstrong, that I do like it, it's pretty weak. I think this season.
Playing a mute character that can't speak is tough. Really, really rough. You know?
Yeah.
Not
And-
being able to talk as an actor, you know what I'm saying? And play a character on a show or movie, that's tough. You know, like
Yeah.
at that point you got to basically like connect with the audience through like movement
Silent.
and like, you know, and like,
Silent.
you know,
Yeah.
and facial expressions and you know what I'm saying? Like all that kind of shit,
Yeah.
you know? And
And-
like we you know, we watched Echo and covered it, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know,
Yeah.
it's tough, you know, like when
Yeah.
you know, like I
But-
mean
yeah, it's tough, but you know what's crazy? They had an actual I know it's we haven't seen the later seasons. They had like an actual deaf character, the chick from Eternals, the speedster we like, Makari. like she was a great character, and
But she can talk. No, she can speak.
Yes, because
she can vocally speak as an actor playing a character of any kind. If you
Yeah.
can't talk vocally, that's tough.
Yeah.
You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
it's tough. Yeah, but yeah, but with Janine is kind of weird because she's not deaf or mute, and it's like it's just weird why she's not talking. You know, it's just I don't know. It just doesn't make sense with her. It's
Well, that's
just
what I'm saying. Yeah, it makes no sense. Having her say a
Yeah.
couple words once in a while is just it's stupid.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
It makes
So
no sense. If you're going to be mute or whatever, or not be able to talk, then don't talk.
yeah, don't. Yeah, I mean that's my wish with her for her. It's like I don't want her to talk. But,
yeah, I mean, it's like a fucking,
yeah.
it's like a cock tease or whatever, you know, to like fucking make them talk once in a while. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, I agreed. I mean, I just wish that Maggie, like, I think it's also common storytelling. Like, I kind of wish Maggie push more harder as a mother to like take in this girl to be like a family with Herschel. Like, and I just don't understand why Maggie is not doing like the motherly thing to like take in Janine as like part of her family and stuff like that, instead of going with this other storyline with this girl of like wanting to go after Negan. If she is doing that, that's another thing. It's like I don't know if
I don't think. Well, for one, I don't think Jenny is like accepting or looking for that kind of, you know, relationship or anything like that. To be honest with you, like they're not trying to make her like that. And then on top of that too, Maggie, from what I remember as a character, is not known for having like a bunch of motherly instincts or whatever. You know, like that's not her character. You know what I mean? Like that's more of a Carol. You know, like there's other female characters in the Walking Dead that have been more, maternalistic, and motherly. And Maggie's never been like that.
No. Yeah. Nah. I guess you're right. I mean, well, it's tough because like I try to figure out if the final season she had Herschel at that point, because this is new, right? Like she's this new.
I didn't watch, but from what I saw when I did tune in, I never saw Herschel very much at all in the episodes I saw.
Okay, yeah, because I think this is a new thing. Okay,
I didn't see a lot of the Hilltop when I would watch The Walking Dead here and there. I never saw the Hilltop a lot in the episodes I watched.
Yeah. Okay, Jill. I thank you, Jill, for still being here with us. Yeah, I like your observation here. Yeah, I think Jenny's also is doing this other thing that makes a lot of sense. Is she's like observing everyone. Like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Like, just observing them and maybe either watch out for them for being dangerous to her or Herschel, whatever.
Well, they're making her out. They're making her out to be very resourcewell, like very capable at this point in the show. As a character. At least
I like that.
She seems to be able to navigate, she seems to be able to navigate the New York City, like in the zombie apocalypse, perfectly fine. You know what I mean? Like you know what I'm saying? And like she's fine, like she's safe. You know what I mean? Like when she first showed up in Dead City, she was like a deer in the headlights out there in the streets, like looking like about to get killed all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. The new person that is Herschel Jr. He's like that for this season. Oh boy,
I'm so sick of watching episodes where the same things happen with Herschel Jr. and Maggie. Like he gets lost somewhere, Maggie can't find him, so she's all emotionally upset. You know what I mean, or whatever, and then he shows up all of a sudden, and they hug. You know what I mean? Remember, they hug every time. You know what I mean? And then like that's it. That's the end of it.
Yes, that's true. Like, yeah, I'm like up there, because obviously
it's so repetitive, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many times is this fucking guy gonna get lost, bro?
Yeah, and we know he's betraying them, right? Because we know he's thinking about the plan and all that, with the Dama, stuff like that.
I don't know what the fuck happened with him when he got lost in the episode. I may have potentially been thinking about committing suicide. You know what I'm saying? I was watching it at that point. You know what I mean? So I lost my focus at that point. You know what I mean? I wasn't sure what the fuck happened.
Yeah, I don't know. I see, my thing was I was like eating my dinner and like just in my phone, so I was like not paying attention to the.
I just knew that Maggie all of a sudden was in the same place that Negan was at. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, you know, at that point, that means that Herschel got lost there. That means he must have been doing something like having to do with the Dama. You know?
Yeah. I'm just looking at what else that's kind of pointing.
Just based off the flashbacks and stuff from last episode or whatever, you know, like that's what I'm thinking is going on. You know, or episode 2, you know.
Yeah. So I mean that section is stuff.
He either wants something or is looking for something from her that he used to have, or like he wants something, an object or whatever, or he actually wants to meet the Dama herself, you know.
Which that could be more sense. Like he wants to like renew again with the Dama and all that. You know, probably rely information he knows now, right? I guess, but we'll see. Okay, so
I mean, I don't know. I don't know why Herschel Jr. would have an agenda like that. You know what I'm saying? Like you'd think he'd be loyal to like Maggie. You know, he's been raised at the hilltop his whole life with her.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know how long he was captive with her, but like I mean with the Dama, but like it wasn't that long. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, she did. I mean, I guess you know. Like kudos to the Dama to like seduce a boy with like these desires and wants and you know of taking over a city.
She didn't seduce him. Let's be literal here.
Not like that. Like you know, more like seducing the kid's ambition of like being an artist or something like that. I don't know. Like she easily tricked the kid like to promise like this good life.
Oh yeah,
right. You know.
No, I mean no. Kids are impressionable. You know,
exactly.
And it is, and this is a rough world they live in. You know,
exactly.
So you can see how somebody can be tempted.
Yeah, and that's something that the show has at least addressed, right? Like you know, this is not novel for kids, so like at least I appreciate that they acknowledge that. So at least they're doing something right there. Okay, so like getting back to the museum again, you know, the guy and the Dama have now come to alliance. Apparently, I guess after the battle. Which is separately at dinner. The guy wants a small change, though, in the form of the second mapping factory built in his museum. So he wants now the mapping production in his like overall area. The Korak family snaps and yelling that they all hold all the cards, and again accuse him of having a walker fighter who somehow cheats.
That happened before that, sir. The Walker fighter and the the methane plant and all that happened earlier, you know, and then after that, this stuff happened.
Yeah, this is like the aftermath of the fire. Like this is so this is
then they had the agreement, you know, after that last fight, you know, at the end.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. This is the aftermath of the fight that we're already done discussing constantly because it's stupid. So like this is the part where like the Karag is like snapping at them because they're holding the cards, and this is where he like you know spills his suspicions about the Walker cheating, which is like okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And then sorry, I got my notes here. So
that happens when they have the banquet, sir.
Yeah,
we talked about that already.
Okay, well let me get to this part. So the guy is offended about this accusation from the car rack. Negan steps in. He proposed a Walker fight between the champion and one of the choosing. Right, that's what happened. And then you know the Walker wins. They join the alliance without any you know troubles. And then like the guy agrees. And then Negan warns Maggie about Herschel. And so Maggie talks to Herschel on the rooftop about the memory of him chasing fireflies. Yada. He wanted to cheer her up by catching a lightbug, but she apologized to her son about that. You know, another flashback went on. And then Armstrong catches a glimpse of Negan and the others catching a Walker and taking it with them without killing it, right? And then the trio of them finds a way to sneak into the museum. So that will probably lead to next episode, whatever. And then with the plan to create a distraction to get Negan alone. Then after that, inside the museum, right? This is where it was kind of interesting. So we got the guy and Negan get the Walker combatants ready, with the Negans being much smaller than the champion, suspicious, right? As they're preparing, the guy is alerted that his Washington painting is on fire. The Cobra likes it, but with the smile on Negan's face, seems to know that they're not alone. So he accuses himself and finds Maggie in another room, and she tells him that she didn't came back for him, and then Armstrong is there too, waiting to know about the man thing operation because the Babylon's about the man thing, whatever, and then Maggie asks to speak with Negan alone, telling him that she wants to get Herschel back home as soon as possible. Negan can't help her though because of his family safety, but he does give her an address. He also warns Maggie that the mom or the Dama,
the Dama, you got it.
the Dama. Thank you. Dama has somehow got to Herschel. I'm like, yeah, because he easily impressed the kid about promises, right? That's all it is. And he can't be trusted. On cue, Herschel runs into the Dama, who is surprised but happy to see him. That was funny. And with the Walker battle about to start, Negan pours oil on his to make it sleepily while Maggie hides behind the column. Wanted to create a diversion, Negan jumps into the cage, allowing Maggie to escape. But before she can, she's frozen by the sight of the Dama, who looks right at Maggie with no concern. So pretty much, her son is corrupt. He has joined the dark side. Please, watch episode 3. We've seen episode 3. All right, it's very easy to join the dark side. So
the Dama saw Maggie and didn't give a shit.
Yeah, that's what happened. So pretty much, she has a way to destroy this group because of the kid. So we'll see if that ever comes to true. Okay, yeah. So as suspected, the other side's Walker wins the fight. Right afterward, Negan whispers something to him that he cannot hear, and despite winning the bet, decides to show that he's trustworthy by joining the alliance with no strings attached. Very interesting. This what did Negan say to him as this happening? Well, we'll see. And then Maggie and Herschel make it back to the rooftop separately, but her son won't tell her what took so long for him to come back, which that's gonna be suspicious. The Dama is amazed by what Negan was able to accomplish, right? And she asked Negan to ride back home to the car with her, which the look of the car wreck is he's very unpleased. He's not happy with his spot being threatened. So that's something I'm kind of curious to see if the Korak is gonna start a fight with Negan. That'd be kind of cool. In a very psychological way. And then after that, we see the guy back. This is where we were talking about the stupid thing with this guy and the Walker champion. He goes back into his quarters talking to his Walker champion, who's revealed to not be a Walker at all. Instead, we meet a man who's eating a rat. Okay. But isn't all there. His name is Tony. He's a former bodyguard with their secret now out. He has no use for him, and so he slits Tony's throat. Typical, I guess. And then he looks at the New York skyline and says that I'm not out loose just yet, but just what is he planning? And that's the end of the episode. Finally, we're done with this episode 4 of Walking Dead. Yeah, really bad.
That shot of New York City right there was terrible.
Yeah, very CGI. It was really bad stuff. So let me start with rating here very quickly. I mean, it's pretty awful. I give it a 5 out of 10. I don't know what to say. It's awful. I was completely bored with this episode.
The buildings weren't high enough.
It was that it didn't feel like New York.
We have a really bad audio delay, sir. That's why we keep talking over each other. You're hearing me way after I'm talking. So it's okay. Don't feel bad. But you're hearing me after I talk. We have an audio delay tonight. But anyways, because usually we're more concise with that stuff. The buildings will be taller, than in that shot. You know what I mean? Even after 10 years or whatever of the apocalypse, the high-rise buildings would still be intact. There's no reason why they would just fall down from the weather, and the wear and tear. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agreed. Very weird. I mean, again, I don't know. It seemed like they didn't care how to put New York in this dump and very rusty condition that it should be during a zombie apocalypse. So and so far they did the compositing of CGI buildings of New York is really bad. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't like the fact that we never get to see them do like normal stuff, like go out and get supplies, you know, like loot abandoned buildings, you know, like look for food, you know what I mean? Like, you know, all the small stuff that you got to do in like the life of like living in the apocalypse, you know what I'm saying? Like apocalypse, you know, like I like seeing the characters do regular stuff like that. It's still dangerous. There's still walkers around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree because and that's the thing that's awful about like now is because they're focusing on getting this stupid like meth gas, whatever they have, and it's like, why do you want to be like?
The methane is fine. Like, you know, they can do the methane. I don't mind that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's not that bad of a thing.
Yeah,
an element. You know, it is kind of weird. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, you know, but it's believable. You know what I mean? Like, it's believable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like, if there's other civilizations in New York City, right? Like the outskirts of it, you know, other groups, other like, you know, other bases, you know what I'm saying, camps and stuff like that, you know, like why don't we ever see them hunting or foraging for food or like, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, like growing crops, you know what I mean, like, you know, in the Walking Dead show we saw them do stuff like that. They grew food, you know, like and I'm sure they probably did a lot of that stuff, like agricultural stuff and stuff like that in the later seasons, you know what I'm saying, like, you know. But they showed them doing stuff like looting medicine and stuff like that, you know, looking for medicine, you know, looking for shit, you know what I mean? You know, looking for food, you know.
I know it's I do miss those like I mean, it's kind of crazy. The Last of Us done a way better job being a zombie show than this show has been doing, and like I know they're like after this one theme, but are there like taking care of themselves? Are they like searching for food, you know, and some shelter?
Well, that's the thing. They don't give us any of that stuff. Like none of that is there in Dead City. You know what I'm saying? Or
no,
Dixon,
I know.
For instance, you know, like I don't care with Daryl Dixon. I don't mind it. But in Dead City, not having things like that would probably help the show. You know?
Yeah.
Exactly. The Walking Dead had that. The Walking Dead like made sure to like mention things like food, like, you know, the show. Occasionally we'd see the characters eating. You know what I'm saying? You know, or like looking for food. You know, like they would talk about it. Like it was a regular episode by episode theme that they needed food. You know what I mean? Like they got to eat, right? They needed water. Like they would drink water. You know, like they had to get water sometimes. You know what I mean? Like we have no idea where they even get water in Dead City. Like, you know, we never see them drink water or drink anything. No. There was some wine. They were drinking wine a little bit in the banquet in episode 4, you know, but like I never see anybody drink water.
No. I mean, I'm trying to remember this episode. I saw Maggie took one water. I don't know.
Where do you get clean water in New York City?
I know. I don't know where. Either the fountains or wherever they were at in Central Park. That was like the only source water. Yeah, it's weird.
The fountains will be dried up by now.
No, that's true. Yeah. I mean, if either they found like another group or someone that they produce water somehow, like that made sense, but we're not seeing that. Yeah, you know,
you have to boil water. That's what you'd have to do. You have to boil your water. That's all there is.
Yeah. I mean, I hope they know that. You know, I know we did like first season, but like that was the first half first season actually did that well. Like was it episode 2 when Negan and Maggie were in the city? They met other groups, you know, and like it's kind of weird that we're not doing that again. But it's just yeah. What's your rating, sir, for this episode? I gave it 5 out of 10. I mean, I don't know if I'm generous or not.
Well, we're still meeting new groups. We're still meeting new groups now. You know what I'm saying? But it's not like a good thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's not helping the show. You know, like that doesn't change the fact that they don't do any of the stuff. Like again. They don't do food, you know what I mean? Or like show them eating or like, you know, or like, you know, looking for medicine, you know what I'm saying? Or like, you know, going through abandoned warehouses or buildings for shit. They never do any of that stuff, you know?
No. Yeah. It's weird. It's very weird. Oh boy. Anyway, I think we saw enough of this show in episode 4. What's your rating, sir, of this episode?
Well, come on, sir. Don't you know, don't shut down my, you know, my flow on Dead City. You know what I'm saying? You know, like
I
come on
mean,
now.
I don't know. Like this episode was so boring. It was so stupid.
I
you
know. I watched it and I missed a lot of shit. That's why I've been asking you questions. Because I missed stuff
Are
because
you asking me questions?
Dead City is boring. So I sometimes I fall off with the show. I watch it. My attention span like falls off.
Yeah. Now let me read the Collider, like its pros and cons. Let me tell you something. It's right on point what we're feeling right now.
Collider is a pretty nice publication when it comes to how they cover and review television and like movies and stuff. They're pretty kind.
Yeah, pretty kind, but they're on point with the like our negatives here. Like their cons here, with the like straight line. Say the Walker fights are rather dull instead of highlight. I agree. The momentum with Herschel's character takes a bad seat, I guess. I mean, whatever. Ginny's character arc continues to move at a snail's pace. I agree. And then the only good things they say is that the Kim. Oh yeah, the guy who the guy, that actor you say that was from Resident Evil 3.
Yeah.
The movie. He was good. I actually like him as a character in this episode. He was definitely the highlight. And then the last positive. This is the last positive. They only had 2 positives, and they say that Negan's character is starting to show more life again. Maybe I don't know about that, but yeah, maybe I can.
It's hot and cold with Negan, man, in the show. You know, it's on and off.
Yeah.
You know, and then you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. I kind of agree with you because it's like kind of cold in certain scenes, right? I think this episode he was better than last week's episode. At least he was more engaging here, but I need more. You know, that's the day. I need more of it. So, but yeah, that's my thought. I mean, what else we could say? I mean, about Dead City. I mean, how many episodes we got left?
3.
Three? Wow. No,
4.
Four.
Episodes. 4. I'm thinking The Last of Us.
Yeah. Last of Us. Yeah, so yeah, we got like this is episode 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 4 more episodes. Oh my god, up to June 22nd. I hope the series like picks up because I'm just so shocked how lackluster this show is. The pacing is like
I'm shocked. I'm surprised there's not more action. The Collider was seeing again. They're being very nice, even the way that they worded it. You know, like everything. Their critiques are very nice. They're very generous. You know, like you know, like they took Jenny seriously as a character. They're like, you know, Jenny's character arc's very slow still. You know what I mean? Like, you know, as opposed to us when we're like, Jenny sucks. You know, like get rid of Jenny. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or kill her. That's what I want.
That's what I'm saying. I know Collider. They're very nice. You know, like you know what I mean? Like, you know, like when they come to when they review like TV shows and stuff like that, they don't like beat up on shows or like, you know, really like slam them. You know what I mean?
No, and you cannot do that. Like they work closely with the studios and stuff like that. That makes sense. So you know, hey, that's the business. Well, that's another one. I kind of agree with the, you know, as you say, very soft, but it makes a lot of sense. The Walker fights are so dull this season, and like
what I don't understand is why they don't just add more action to the show. You know, like if you're gonna like do more of an element of The Walking Dead on Dead City to make the show better, why wouldn't you just automatically try to add more action to the show? You know,
like I know,
but they don't. You know what I'm saying? Like it's almost like they're trying to like sell Dead City this season, right? As a dialogue driven show, you know, like a Last of Us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, like House of the Dragon, Indoor kind of show. You know, it's dialogue driven. And I'm sorry, but like it's not working.
No, and that's another problem. Like those shows you just brought up, like literally have action in their episodes too. Like they know what they're doing, and they're way better written. That's a fortunate thing. Like Endor is well better written, and like it has better characters, side characters we like, right? Same thing with the Last of Us. Last of Us. I mean, I'm not gonna speak for you with Last of Us. I like Last of Us. They're doing what they're doing, and
it's not as good as season 1. The Last.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but like still, like season 2 had amazing action scenes that I remember. Like I still remember the Jackson attack, the the
Oh
death of,
yeah, no,
the death of Joe.
there hasn't been a lot of them, but when we've had action in season 2, it's been good. The action in
Yeah,
Last of Us is good.
yeah,
Again,
and
the infected are are a great part of the show. Whenever
yeah,
they do the infected, it's always good.
exactly. And like the subway attack was great. The spores, like I was very geeking out the fact that we got the sports air. I know it's from the game, but it was great to have it here in the live action. Yeah, it's just weird how like they're not putting a lot of action in this season, and it's like, what's going on? Like, I mean,
I don't get it, to be honest with you. I don't know why they've gone with this direction with the show. And at least with Density season 1, they made an effort to add elements with with stuff like to make it more action packed and make it more interesting.
yeah,
Like the sewer Walker battle. You know what I mean? And then the mutant like zombie Walker fucking that Maggie fought in the sewer. You know what I mean? Like all that type stuff happening. You know what I mean? You know the Walker versus Walker combat shtick was okay for one episode, but don't bring it back again and keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? Come on.
yeah. It's very weird what they're doing. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, like, just it's like they just gave up after first season. I don't know what, but like I mean, first season wasn't that bad. It was like it was weak, but you could easily improve a lot of the things. And I'm just surprised the direction they took to the season, and like just everything is just boring, very slow. I mean, the pacing is really bad this season. It's just like so.
I
Like,
mean, I think
I don't
they're
know.
trying to build up to some kind of over conflict at the end with New Babylon and
Yeah,
the Dama slash Negan slash Croat people. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's the direction that the show's going. You know what I mean? When that's going to
yeah,
happen, I have no idea. You know what I'm saying? We got four episodes to go. You know what I mean? I'm not sure. The
yeah.
New Babylonian folks are not looking too strong right now.
Well, and they're being stupid too. Like that's another stupid thing. It's like, why you want to take a risk to take the mainframe now? Why you just go back to the mainland and get more forces, right? Like,
Oh yeah, that makes no sense. I have no idea why they're even there still. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
I
exactly.
don't get it. Well,
Yeah, I don't.
you'd think that common sense they would just go back home and
Yeah,
regroup.
yeah.
I
That's
mean,
the
don't you need more guns and ammunition and all that kind of stuff, like supplies? You know what I mean? Like food. You know what I mean? Medicine, first aid or whatever.
yeah.
On your boat ride here, you lost all your shit. You lost all your supplies and shit. They're gone. So
You know,
all you have is the ammo and stuff on you. You know what I mean? So yeah, wouldn't you go back to the base and regroup? How are you gonna fight the Dama's people with just two guns, and knives?
yeah, exactly. And then like, yeah, again, it's just the most stupid thing ever. It's like, they're like the Dama is doing the smartest thing. It's like recruiting more like allies, and like she's doing the most smartest thing than the new Babylon. So it's just weird that the other group is not thinking to like regroup, get out of the mainland, get more forces, or align them with other forces in New York if they able to meet them. Like, I don't know. It's like the
Yeah,
new.
why are these random camps or whatever letting the New Babylonian people in your city in? You'd think in the zombie apocalypse there'd be a little bit of suspicion of stuff of strangers. You know what I mean? There wouldn't be just wide open arms in your camp. To whoever.
Yeah, I'm surprised that was it last week episode. Like those people didn't eat them, like the Terminus from season 5 of Walking Dead. Like I'm surprised that was not the group where there were cannibals and they were gonna eat the new Babylon people. Like I'm just surprised we didn't go that far with that. Like, yeah, it's really
Well,
weird.
it's very convenient that they're on the run in New York City, but they're finding places to live and shit, and all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I get like last week's episode, like those people were trying to like avoid that, like everyone from like outside of New York. It's like, okay, that makes sense, but like, yeah, it's just it's it's so easy for them to like get to like the the next location to another, and not like having to face the walkers or the forces of the Dama. So it's weird, like these people are like getting so lucky to like walk.
That's what I'm
to,
saying. That's what I mean. They seem very safe, and like
safe, I don't know.
very, very chill about things. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I hope next episode they can pick it up. I mean, it seemed promising, but I don't know. It's like we're already in four episodes like in a row right now, and it's like nothing has been like spectacular. Nothing has been like.
You know what else I would like to see is more of like stuff where they show them like going through like abandoned New York buildings and stuff, to look for stuff. You know what I mean? Like that's cool, like, look for like, for things to like, valuable items, you know what I mean? Like tools, food, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, like I like that when they do stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Last of Us, they do that, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you gotta look around and try to find guns, try to find guitars, find old shit that might be valuable. You know what I'm saying? It's New York City. There'd be a lot of shit, and like in the apartment buildings and like high rises and all that kind of stuff. There'd be a lot of packed, like, apartments and condos and, stuff like, full of shit to go through.
Yeah, I agree. I'm sad to say I'm not going to New York. I'm going to Seattle because of The Last of Us. This show has made New York so boring in the zombie apocalypse of all things. Yeah, I agree. We need more of those like scavenging hunts or like bounty buildings. Find new resources.
You gotta expand the world. You gotta expand the world a little bit.
Yeah.
When you do a zombie type deal, you know what I'm saying? Like, and gotta make it real. You know what I'm saying? And like have the characters do things like eat. And like and like go out and look for food. And like like search abandoned buildings for like for valuable things. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what you would do.
Yeah, I agree. And nope, they don't do that. So it's kind of weird.
Look for cars to like, like work on and like start up, you know what I'm saying? So you have transportation, you know what I mean? Like, look for ammunition, like for your guns, you know what I mean? Like, you got to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, true. And I hope this next episode, we have more like a counter of like vicious groups that will attack them. To like because they want to protect their area of like territory. Because
like in the episode 5 like teaser thing that they played after the episode, it looks like the dude from episode 4 that they made the alliance with is going to end up turning around and like fighting against Dama's people and Negan and shit.
Yeah, I'm curious about that, but yeah, I hope it's going to be good because I don't know. It could be worse. It could be really boring, as they've done so far. So we'll see.
Well, I don't know. So you wanted my rating for episode 4, Dead City, and my rating is probably like a 4 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah. That's good. I mean, yeah. I put a 5. It's like a 5 out of 10. Yeah, it's like in that like hovering that. Yeah.
I don't think it's worth a 5.
No. I'll probably change it. I'll give it a 4 out of 10 because I just don't really care about this.
Nothing happened in that episode 4. I mean, we're we just happen to be very talented, experienced people, over here when it comes to YouTube and podcasting type stuff, to where we can make like it work for 2 hours worth of talking, about Dead City episode 4, with a lot of sidetracking.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of sidetracking because this episode didn't offer anything new. Oh, let me ask you something. Because you're watching it in the app, right? Does it give you commercials? Like, I don't know. It's
no,
because
AMC Plus doesn't have commercials.
Okay. Yeah, and it's still boring to watch that full episode.
On their platform, I don't think they do commercials.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't know. Because, with me, I watch it in file, and I do get the commercials and all that. And, I get it takes like an hour to get this episode. But, like, for me, it's like, I don't know, like, just this episode was so boring. The pacing was bad. Yeah. Anything else to say besides?
It's interesting, learning about and finding out about like the different platforms that The Walking Dead or Dead City are on. You know what I mean? Besides just AMC, AMC Plus, right? That's interesting information. You hear about that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? I always wonder people in the UK and Australia and stuff like that, like what are they watching all this stuff on? You know what I mean? Like, like what services are they using? You know what I'm saying? Like, to watch this certain stuff. Because like in the UK and Australia, they don't have the same like AMC, like channel or whatever, potentially. You know what I'm saying? Like, like they have a different Netflix. They have different, Disney Plus. You know what I mean? Like over there,
Yeah, they do. Like for me, I noticed that recently, if you have like another app that is free, and they do have like a package where they have like the channels that these shows are air. That's the way I think those other countries are able to see, and that's usually how it is. If the channel requires the TV rights and had a deal with the AMC, they're able to see that. So that's always the usual channels.
I think there's a channel on my YouTube TV that's all Walking Dead. At the top of the channels, all the way up at the top, like one of the last ones is an all Walking Dead channel.
And actually,
all they play is episodes of the original Walking Dead all day.
Yeah, and that's another thing in YouTube, in the main like Walking Dead channel I was just talking about. Some of these are free to watch the episodes if they do it
What do you mean? Like AMC is free, like if you have cable.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying in YouTube, if you find this particular, I'm trying. If a particular brand has their own channel, like their own focus of this TV show, they usually allow to like free their episodes. There's occasionally
it's occasional on YouTube itself. That's very rare. It's rare when that happens. They don't. The Walking Dead YouTube channel does not release episodes of the shows.
Yeah,
on their channel.
That's my thing. I don't know if The Walking Dead does it, but like
they don't do that. No, they've never done that. You know what I'm saying? That's very rare that anybody does that. The only time I ever see stuff like that is when I come across like an episode of Andor season 1 from the UK or something. The UK Star Wars UK or something. You know what I mean? Or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And like you'll see an episode of Andor. You know what I mean? And and YouTube has like some older TV shows from like the 80s and 90s and stuff like that. They have episodes, but they're older shows.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the thing. This is older shows are streaming here. But anyway, I think that's everything we had to say for this show.
But no, you're right, sir. There are some TV episodes of older shows and stuff like that on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's just harder to find like newer shows on YouTube.
No new shows. Like you have to wait like a lot of years for it to even do that. Yeah. I think the Retro. I don't know if Retro Walking Dead is doing it, but I don't know.
Because that stuff gets copyrighted. You know what I'm saying? It gets taken down. You know what I mean? Like you can't just put up episodes of like Disney Plus show or AMC Plus show. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. They get knocked down. It's just like movies. When I saw Captain America 4, like copies, whatever on YouTube, like right after the movie came out, as soon as they'd be up, the next day they'd be gone. They'd be taken down.
Yeah. No, it happens. I've seen that before. Oh boy. Yeah.
It's cool when it happens and you actually catch something on YouTube like that, before it gets taken down. It's cool,
Yeah. That's kind of true.
I used one of those websites that you could use, where you could find like free movies that are even in theaters sometimes, and they just play. They play right on the website. Like that's how I watched Dune 2. The second Dune film that we reviewed. I didn't go to the theater and watch it. I went on the website and watched it on my laptop.
Yeah, I rented it on YouTube, so that's how I did it. I didn't see it in theaters. It was like
there are websites. I've had other people like on Facebook groups and stuff give me the names, or the links to go to, and just like there always has been, like in the past, with bootlegs and stuff, there's always websites and apps you could go on or whatever, right? And find, like free, unlicensed or whatever, content. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I seen those before. Yeah, they're pretty good. They're very helpful.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of bullshit you have to deal with, you know, like you know, when you click on stuff, like, you know, you get like extra pages, you know what I mean, or you get like you know, like pulled away to like, you know, ads and stuff like that, you know, like there's like bullshit you got to deal with when you go that route, you know.
Yeah. I know it's pretty annoying.
Like the process of pulling up the movie is a bitch. It takes a while. You know what I mean? You know, you got to double click on stuff. You know, you get sent to like fake pages. And you have to like go back. You know what I mean?
Yep, I know.
All right, sir.
Pretty awful.
You want to take us out? I know you wanted to get done with this show like an hour ago. So let's wrap it up.
Yes, let's wrap up because it's bad. It's pretty bad. It's pretty nightmare. I have like a nightmare just thinking about this show. But anyway, I hope everyone enjoys this spectacular 2-hour discussion of Walking Dead, Dead City Season 2, Episode 4, live recap and breakdown. I just want to say thank you, Jeff, for joining us in this discussion. It was really fun and good to discuss, you know, Marvel stuff as usual. And of course, I hope you guys enjoyed my narration. Of course, next week, Jeff will take over, and then I'll be back in another week, probably Episode 6. I'm going to moderate. Hopefully, that will be better. But yeah. That's all after that. So next upcoming projects we're gonna have for MCU Bleeding Edge. Wednesday we are back again to pretty much wrap up the speaking of Last of Us Season 2, Episode 7. That's gonna be our next theme for Wednesday. That's gonna be fun. Way better show to watch than this crap, I have to say. And then Friday we're back again to do Andor Episode 6 review, right? Because I wasn't in Episode 5. Yeah. I'm gonna be Friday. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. So that's our MC.
Much different TV show to talk about than Dead City.
Yeah, 2 best TV shows and then this crap. So that's it. So thank you everyone for joining us. We'll see you guys later. Good night.
Yep. Later, folks. Peace.